Welcome to Revenge Chronicles, where truth cuts through deception and a mother's love becomes the ultimate weapon of justice. For our longtime viewers, you know that family bonds can be both our greatest strength and our deepest betrayal. For those just joining us, prepare yourself for a story that proves technology can't erase guilt, but it can certainly expose it. I should have known something was wrong when Sarah's best friend Emma posted that smiling selfie just hours after my daughter's funeral. The caption read, "New beginnings," with a heart emoji. At the time, I thought grief was making me paranoid. Now I know it was my first clue. Sarah died 3 months ago in what police called a hiking accident. 24 years old, experienced hiker, found at the bottom of a cliff at Sunset Ridge, a trail she'd walked dozens of times. The investigation lasted exactly 2 weeks before they closed the case. Accidental death, they said. Case closed. But mothers don't close cases on their children. It started with Sarah's phone. The police returned it after the investigation, screen cracked but data intact. I'd been avoiding looking through it, too painful. But when Emma showed up at my door asking if Sarah had left anything important behind, something clicked. Why would Sarah's best friend be so concerned about her belongings? That night, I powered up Sarah's phone. What I found made my blood run cold. The last text thread between Sarah and Emma wasn't about hiking plans. It was about Emma's boyfriend Marcus cheating with Sarah's coworker. But there was something else: screenshots of bank statements, Marcus's family's real estate investments, and a note in Sarah's handwriting. Emma needs to know what Marcus's family really does. I spent the next week learning to be a digital detective. I created fake social media accounts, learned about data recovery, and discovered that deleted doesn't really mean deleted. Sarah had been investigating Marcus's family for weeks before she died. The Hamilton family looked perfect on the surface. Marcus's father owned a successful construction company, his mother ran a charity foundation, and his older brother was a city councilman. But Sarah had uncovered something darker. Through a series of screenshots hidden in her photo albums, I found evidence of money laundering through fake construction projects and fraudulent charity donations. But here's what broke my heart: Emma knew. Not only did she know about the money laundering, she was helping cover it up. In recovered messages, I found conversations between Emma and Marcus's mother, Mrs. Hamilton, discussing how to handle the Sarah situation. The smoking gun was a voice memo Sarah had sent to herself the night before she died: "Emma's meeting with Mrs. Hamilton tomorrow. She promised to convince Marcus's family to come clean about the money laundering if I drop my investigation. But I can't. Too many people have been hurt by their fake charity stealing from actual victims. If something happens to me, Emma knows everything." My hands shook as I realized what this meant. Emma hadn't tried to convince the Hamiltons to come clean. She'd warned them about Sarah's evidence. I needed more proof. Over the next month, I became someone I never imagined. I learned about IP addresses, metadata, and digital footprints. I discovered that Mrs. Hamilton had searched hiking accident statistics and mountain rescue response times on her home computer 3 days before Sarah died. The breakthrough came when I found Sarah's backup cloud storage account. She'd documented everything: photos of forged documents, recorded phone calls with construction workers who'd been cheated, interviews with families whose charity applications had been denied while the Hamiltons bought luxury cars. But the most damning evidence was a GPS tracking screenshot from the morning Sarah died. It showed Emma's car parked at the Sunset Ridge trailhead for 2 hours, the same time frame when Sarah supposedly hiked alone. I printed everything. Bank records, text messages, GPS data, search histories, voice memos. I organized it like Sarah would have wanted: methodical, thorough, undeniable. If you're enjoying this story of a mother's quest for justice, please consider subscribing to Revenge Chronicles. We share stories of ordinary people fighting for truth when the system fails them. Then I called Detective Morrison, the officer who'd closed Sarah's case. "I need to reopen my daughter's investigation," I told him. "I have new evidence." He sighed. "Mrs. Chen, I know this is hard, but sometimes accidents are just accidents. Emma Davidson was at Sunset Ridge the morning Sarah died. The Hamiltons paid her to silence my daughter's investigation into their money laundering operation. I have digital proof of everything." The silence stretched for 30 seconds. "Bring me what you have." The confrontation happened exactly where it should have, in the police station, with Emma and the entire Hamilton family called in for questioning. I sat behind the one-way glass as Detective Morrison laid out the evidence piece by piece. Emma broke first. She sobbed as she admitted that Mrs. Hamilton had offered her $50,000 to convince Sarah to drop her investigation. When Sarah refused, Emma was supposed to delete Sarah's evidence remotely using their shared cloud access. But she had backup files, Emma cried. Mrs. Hamilton said if Sarah kept digging, she'd ruin Marcus's future, destroy their family business, send his father to prison. She said we needed to stop her. Marcus's mother sat stone-faced as Emma revealed how they'd planned it. Emma would lure Sarah to Sunset Ridge early that morning, claiming she wanted to discuss Marcus privately. Mrs. Hamilton and her older son would be waiting. They intended to threaten Sarah, maybe destroy her phone. But Sarah started recording everything on her smartwatch, Emma whispered. She wouldn't stop asking questions about the missing charity money. She said families were suffering while they bought expensive cars. Mrs. Hamilton got so angry. The rest came out in fragments. A struggle near the cliff edge. Sarah trying to back away. Mrs. Hamilton pushing harder than intended. The sickening sound of my daughter falling. Emma's final betrayal was helping them stage the scene. Moving Sarah's backpack. Deleting the GPS history from Sarah's watch. Creating the fiction of a solo hike gone wrong. But they hadn't counted on a mother who refused to accept convenient lies. The Hamilton family empire crumbled within weeks. Federal investigators seized their assets, froze the charity accounts, and arrested 3 family members on charges ranging from manslaughter to money laundering. The construction company's government contracts were revoked, revealing a decades-long pattern of fraud. Emma pleaded guilty to accessory to manslaughter and obstruction of justice. At her sentencing, she looked at me with tear-filled eyes. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Chen. I loved Sarah, but I was scared. I stood up in that courtroom and spoke directly to her. You didn't love my daughter. Love protects. Love fights for truth. You chose money over justice, comfort over courage. Sarah died because you were too weak to do what was right." 6 months later, I testified before a congressional subcommittee about charity fraud, sharing Sarah's research and the story of how her murder exposed a web of corruption. The Sarah Chen Foundation now investigates charitable organizations, ensuring donations reach their intended recipients. Emma received 8 years. Mrs. Hamilton got 15 for manslaughter. Marcus's father received 25 years for the money laundering operation they killed my daughter to protect. Every morning, I visit Sarah's grave and tell her about the families who've received help through her foundation. I tell her how proud I am that her investigation didn't die with her. Technology preserved her voice, and a mother's love made sure it was finally heard. The Hamilton family thought they could bury the truth with my daughter. They learned that some things refuse to stay buried: justice, truth, and a mother's determination to honor her child's final mission. Thank you for watching another episode of Revenge Chronicles. Sarah's story reminds us that in our digital age, the truth always leaves traces for those determined enough to follow them. If this story moved you, please like this video and subscribe for more stories of justice prevailing against all odds. Until next time, remember, love doesn't end with death, and neither does the fight for what's right.